Welcome, everyone, to a lovely morning. It is a lovely morning indeed. To accept is to change. To accept is to change. I don't know how many of you follow along when we read Neville Goddard at night for a bedtime story, but to accept mentally, he's saying, when you accept your change mentally, well, that's the only place you can accept it, so that you end up accepting it physically. So to accept mentally, you are saying, you know what? I see the external. I don't like it. So it's my cue. I declare, because who are you? Well, I am is who you are. And I am has the power to mold and shape things, shape itself into things. So when you accept your new sense of self, your new person, when you say, I am that, I'm that. Now you say, in spite of what your circumstances are telling you, you see something, you hear something, in spite of what is being told on the outside of you, that doesn't confirm just yet your physical change, hold fast to your mental acceptance. Listen, we do it all the time. We accept things all the time. Do you know how you do it? You make a decision. You say, oh, well, I'm doing this now. Or I'm not doing this. And you accept it. That's what we do. And once you accept it mentally, that is the impression that is left upon your subconscious mind. And what happens? Well, whatever is impressed has to express. So when you accept your new, that's when you change the old exterior. You see, I love the way that Neville puts it when he says, we want to change, but we try to break the mirror to change the reflection. The reflection is coming from your mental state. What is your mental state? Do you know what it is? Mental state, he describes it as the place you go to mentally time and time and time again. You do it all the time. If your mental state is, oh my God, I'm totally awesome, I can accomplish anything. If that's your mental state because that's where you go to, that's your default place, well, then what do you think your expressions in life will be? Well, that you can express or be anything because that is your mental state. But if your predominant mental state is, oh my God, life is so hard. Man, why you got to struggle all the time? Well, then what do you think your expression will be? You will always have to fight and struggle, won't you? Because that is your mental state. So if you accept a new mental state, you must continually or persistently walk in that mental state, in the new one, until it takes root in you. Neville says until it takes on the tones and vividness of reality. But again, what does that even mean? When you are in a mental state, your body has a physiological response. If your natural state that you have gone to time and time again is one of anxiety, what happens to your body? It begins to do what? Show you the evidence of your mental state. If your mental state, this one I'm really acquainted with, took some time, but anger. You fly off the handle at the drop of a hat. That's your mental state. Shoot, you're going to be arguing all the time. But if you now say, I'm exhausted with arguing, it just serves no purpose. My new state will be one of peace. Oh, really? You walk down the street, you encounter an argument, and you give in? Or do you persist in peacefulness, whereas you have a new way of doing things, but you have to mentally accept your newness persistently, because that is how we got into the current mental state we are in, by accepting it persistently. That's all you're doing. That's all I'm doing on a daily basis. We are constantly accepting things and walking and living as though they were. Have you ever sat there and you thought about someone, whether you like them or not, but you thought about them, and then you started to have this conversation in your head, and your body was like, yeah, you're getting all riled up. Now that riling up can either be a positive thing or a not so positive thing. But that depends upon you and the person you are thinking about, and how they make you feel, and how you have accepted them to be. I like the story that Neville told about the teacher. And she had a problem child in the class. She had a problem child in the class. So every morning it was like, oh God, what are they going to do today? There's such a problem. I'm paraphrasing. Neville said to her, change the way you see the child. So every day she got up, she would accept a new way of seeing that child behave. Well, wouldn't you know what happened? Surprise! The child changed? Oh, come on. Why did that child change? Because she accepted a new version of the child. We read about it last night in Brazen Impudence. If you see someone a new way, they become the new way. Not because you forced them to do it. No, you saw them mentally being different. You accepted a new way that they were. So because you can't be made a liar of, they had to conform. He talked about it in the story he told when he wanted to marry someone else. And you know how people are, we like to gossip sometimes, right? So his dance partner said to his current wife, man, he's going to divorce you. So she moved out of state. The current wife moved out of state. And wouldn't you know, she ended up shoplifting in his state. Because every night when he went to bed, he saw himself, he accepted his new state, which would be a happily married man to the woman he desired to be married to, the new one. And he says 7 days later, he gets a call. He has to go to court. And he gives this character reference to the judge. And the judge was like, whoa, but why would you give her such a glowing recommendation when you have the opportunity to get out of your marriage? This is your prime opportunity. And Neville was like, but she's the mother of my son. We can't do things that are going to affect our child. She comes up to Neville and says, I appreciate what you just did for me. I'm granting you the divorce. Just serve me the papers. What did he do? He accepted his new life. He accepted his new state. So everything had to conform to match because he could not be made a liar of. So his new wife, he accepted her as being real, even though he had no idea how this divorce was going to happen. He had no clue. But he reminds us the how is not our job, because the new acceptance has its own way of expressing itself. So we simply have to accept. If you say, I see myself in a new job opportunity with everything that I want, everything from the benefits, the hours, the type of people you work with, you see it all, accept it. Accept it. Because remember what Neville says, desires come from who? God. Who is God? Your own wonderful imagination. I am. So the desire is not randomly occurring. The desire for a new job, the desire for a new anything is not random. It originates out of the depths of you from I am. And you know as well as I know that when it arises, accept it as being done. Yeah, man, but that's so hard to do. How am I supposed to accept it when I don't see anything? You accept it and you will see. But if you don't accept it, you cannot see. Why not? Because the impression of the new thing that you accept now has to become an expression. But if you don't accept the new, you keep what? Expressing the old. So he says, listen, you just, you don't beg. You claim, you say, this is my new way of being. And you accept it mentally. A funny thing happens when you accept things mentally. As above, so below. As within, so without. The body says, I agree. And does what? Your heart rate may speed up. You might sweat a little bit. Oh, what does he call it? He says you feel the thrill of joy. But the evidence of the thrill of joy occurs after you mentally accept. It is the effect. Whatever happens to your body and how it confirms or corresponds is the effect of what? The cause of you accepting your new way of being. Don't be afraid to accept it. Oh, but Angela, it seems so big, so far off. How can I possibly make it happen? You don't make it happen. You accept that it has happened. You don't make it happen. That's not your job. I am makes it happen. You accept it as being done. This is the part now where we go from hearers of the word to doers of the word. You notice how some people can just flick the switch and change in 24 hours? That radical change has been building. You know, when you hear you were tired of being tired and you just said, hey, faggot, I've changed and I'm done. I'm done being that way. And you accepted the new way. And you accepted it with such passion. You didn't linger anymore in the old. Well, then you had to see it. You have to experience it. So today, be bold and claim who you say you are. Accept your new self. Accept your new state. If your new state is, you know what? I'm much more creative than I ever was. I'm just doing things in a whole new way. That's it. That's your new attitude. Walk in it now because it feels a way to you. And of course, we have eyes and ears, right? Neville gave the example of a rose. He said, there's no rose in front of you right now, but if you can smell one, if you can feel its velvety soft petals at your fingertips, well, you can smell it, you can touch it. Those are your senses that have been mentally engaged. It's not just a rose in your mind. If you can smell it, if you can touch the petals mentally, but your body responds and says, hey, I can smell this is real. Well, then, he says you've just given it the tones of reality, the vividness of reality. Well, then you must experience the rose in the physical. So you have to mentally accept. Listen, placebo, nocebo. They are called what? The placebo effect of what? Because somebody said to you, the doctor more than likely, because this is where it originated from, the placebo, came along and said, listen, I know you've been struggling, but we got the cure for you. You did what? You mentally accepted the cure. You mentally accepted it. And you took the sugar pill. And you come back 2-3 weeks later and you have a clean bill of health. Why? It was not the sugar pill. You accepted what you were told. You accepted it. But the nocebo effect is also the exact same. You were given a bad diagnosis. And then what happens? You accept it, so then it must come to pass. Because you accepted it mentally. Right? So what are we accepting mentally today? What is it you are going to accept mentally? You know, if somebody gives you something and you take it in your hand, you go, wow, thank you. You accepted it physically. But now go into your mind. I'm quoting from Neville. Mentally accept what it is that you would physically accept. Mentally accept it. Mentally accept it today. Because that's where the change comes from. The change is the effect. The cause is the mental state that you currently reside in. And if you cannot see your mental state, you can see your physical state. So if you can see your physical state and you want to change it, then accept the new mental state that would match that newness in the physical you would like. Somebody reminded me yesterday that Neville often spoke about the law of reversibility. We spoke about it in one of our bedtime stories from Neville Goddard. So if you see the thing on the exterior, right? Reverse engineer. How so? Neville gave the example. You can use electricity to create heat. Well, that means you can use heat to bring about electricity. Every cause has its effect, and every effect its cause. But then you see, it is also polarity. You are looking in a particular direction at an effect in your life. Where are you now and what are you doing? You can see it. So when you look at that thing and you say, ugh, or yay, depending on how you perceive it, you like it or not. Not whether you're good enough to have something new. If you're looking on the outside and you see the thing and you're like, you know what, that will not do anymore. I've outgrown this. Well, then what do you want it to be instead? You've just used the exterior to help you change what? Your mental state. Because if you don't know what the mental state is, you can see the exterior, which will tell you what the mental state is. Effect has a cause. Cause has an effect. So you can see it. And if you don't like it, what do you want it to be? So yeah, you may have used polarity, but how did you end up? You ended up doing what? Changing your mental state. So today, accept that thing mentally. But I'm scared. What if I'm wrong? The question is, what do you want? What do you want? The question will never be, am I good enough for this? Do I even deserve this? That's not the question. Am I good enough to have that? That is not the question. What is the question? The question is, what do you want? Then accept it mentally without reservation. Accept it because it is what you want. Nobody knows what you want but you. And when you want something, it kind of agitates you a little bit. So accept it so that the agitation goes away. Accept it. I know. Accept it all day, every day. Accept it when you fall asleep. Accept it when you wake up. Accept it. Because you know the former way of being still remains for a little bit. It still lingers for a little bit. So you'll see it. But that's not telling you that you haven't changed. It's just telling you, oh, that thing has to die off. Keep your attention where you put it, on your new acceptance. Keep it there. Keep it there. So today, let us be bold in spite of anything. Whether you have that thing in the back of your head that says, really? Well, you think you can't? Accept your new state or you will remain the same. And you know what Neville says about that. Or ye die in your sins. Which means you remain exactly the same. You have everything to gain when you accept your new way. But I can't see how it's possible. What? That was not the question. You know it is possible. All things are possible to him that believe. So accept your new way Accept your new state. Yeah, but everything around. Accept your new state. What is that 3-step process that Neville so boldly suggested? He said, name your desire. Or define your objective, is what he says. Define it, which means answer the question, what do you want? Define it. Name it. Step 2, remove your attention from any excuse or obstacle that could possibly hinder you. Why? It's polarity, right? Where are you now? What are you doing? You're complaining? You don't like where you are? Remove your attention. Where is your attention? Mental. Because you're thinking about it, aren't you? So it's mental. So remove your attention from where you currently are and put it where you want it to be. From to. And when you do that, when you move from where you are to where you say you're going, accept it. And when you accept it, step 3 occurs. There's a thrill of joy in your body. Well, it confirms what you've accepted. As above, so below, as within, so without. So once you mentally accept it, your body says, hey, we did it. But that's your confirmation that you have accepted it. So that's why you keep accepting until you get that confirmation in your body. Keep mentally accepting it until you feel it in your body, because that is your confirmation that your impression has been made and now your expression has to come to pass. See what it is? So today, whatever it is, remember, it did not come randomly. And remember, the universe does not like holes or voids, which is always going to be shown to you cause and effect. Every cause has its effect, and every effect its cause. It also tells you as above, so below. There is no hole anywhere that needs to be filled. It is always going to be filled because it has to be. As above, so below. So that desire is mentally above. That's why you have it. But I can't see it yet. I know you can't see it yet. But as above, mentally, accept it. And what happens as above? So below. That is law, not something to hope for, not something to beg for, not something to plead for, but it is something to accept. It is law. It is immutable. It will not change. As above, in your mind that you have accepted, so below must you experience. This is why Neville says your desires come out of your needs. Oh man, I need a new job. Oh, that sounds like a desire to me. And you get real clear about what that new job is. Get clear. You need a clear impression so you can have a clear expression. Muddy impression, muddy expression. Why? As above, so below. Clarity, take the time. We have an exercise coming up, but start it now. Clarity. Writing things down helps us with clarity. It's no magic, it's no woo-woo. When you write things down, you are saying, okay, here's what I'm writing down because this is what I'm wanting to create. So I'm accepting this because I'm writing it on the paper. That's coming up. So start today to gain some clarity about what it is that you want to experience in your life. Is it a new attitude you want? Confidence, self-esteem, boldness? Accept it mentally. When you say, I am courageous, I am bold, I am worthy, mentally accept it until your body confirms. Until your body confirms it. That's how you'll know. Because then what happens? Neville says you go into the Sabbath. You become impotent after that. You know what that means. It means you have reached the precipice or the climax. And then all you can do is go, let me bask in this afterglow. That's what you're doing. Mozinga, yes, he's quoting it from Neville. Be so in love with that self that it has you listen. When you are, it's like a mother with a new baby. You will lay there or sit there and just watch that baby. You are so in love. You know how we mothers say, I never knew I could love anybody the way I love you. You didn't even meet that child yet. But you loved it. You loved the unseen so much. So fall in love with it. Because when you fall in love with it, or rise in love with it, it has your full attention. And so what is that? That is step 2 in the process. Remove your attention from any excuse or obstacle that you think could possibly hinder you. So if you don't have your attention on what you don't want, well, where is your attention? On what you want. And the only thing that holds your attention is the thing you love. So when you accept it and you fall, Mozinga, thank you. And when you fall in love with it, what happens to your body? Your body confirms the object of your desire. Once you have accepted it, your body says, oh yes, we are all in this. And it responds. And after it responds, now you are left with just simply basking in the glow of that love. You don't want it anymore. You have accepted it. And you have it. Nothing on the outside moves you. You're not concerned with, are we there yet? You're not concerned with that because you're so busy. Doing what? Mentally loving your new acceptance. And you know as well as I know that you will physically express what it is. That's what happens. So this morning, I strongly encourage you to accept your new way. Accept it. You see, nobody has the power to deny you anything except for that reflection in the mirror. You. So once you accept it, it is done. You have accepted it mentally above, so you must experience it below. It is guaranteed. Let us take a moment, shall we, to welcome everyone into the space. Jeff and C Staff, they were here on Twitter. I see you. Lilith, yes. Facebook, we got Indy. Okay, Chanel. Cyber, Mozinga. Ray of Sunshine. Tiffany, I see you. Joaquim, Sonia, Marjorie, Anot. I see you all here. Um, mm, Cyber says settling on one state to dwell in is his problem, he thinks, because double minded, perhaps? I want to lose weight. I want to find love, have success and money. So now Neville says you can do many things with one. He says if you accept bliss, if you accept blissfulness as your new state, that is simply one thing to focus on. That bliss now encompasses a new healthy body, a new relationship, success in your endeavors, and money in the bank. Because if bliss did not encompass those things, you'd still struggle with this or with that. But no, he says accept bliss. Because then the bliss, you can't have a blissful life and want something, because then that's not bliss. So focus on the bliss. That state of, oh, everything is done. My life is just absolutely, I want for nothing. Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. You want for nothing. That is what bliss would be. So it doesn't matter what you could conjure up. You're in a blissful state. That is one state. Instead of trying to be in all the other places. Healthy body, good relationship, money in the bank, success, bliss. Mozenka says he's having a hard time seeing clearly what he wants because he's more focused on not listening to the evils, the external things. Well, you've answered your question, because where the attention is not listening to. Then, in actuality, the attention should be where? On the acceptance of the desire fulfilled. You already know that the evils exist. And carry on. That's not your concern. Where is your mind? Where is your attention? I'm coming to you, fan base. Hold on. Don't worry, I'm coming. Put your attention where? On the desired thing, not on the thing you want to avoid, because you will never avoid it. Why won't you avoid it? Because you're looking at it. So again, Mozinga, to use the phrase that you did prior, be so in love with that thing. Ms. M. Ms. M says, I see there are more people who need that little class on deciding what we want. Okay, what's today? Tuesday? I will give you 24 hours. The class is tomorrow. I will modify the date in YouTube and you will see it. Click notify me. The time? 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you cannot make that time, slide into my DMs and I will answer your question and help you gain clarity. Why? Because, well, the law. So that when you do the replay, Your question is answered, but not only is your question answered to help you decipher what it is that you want, to gain more clarity, but so is everybody else who's there. And what happens to us? Faith comes by what? Hearing. So you get to go through everybody else's, right? Mm, there you have it. Mm, I'm reading you, Mozinga. He says, yes, the bliss of your acceptance. Ms. M is dancing in the chat. Yes, I will remember to make the modification. Now, who's here on fan base this morning? We have 777. Our Hawk. We have Flo Smiles, Marquise. Oh, I don't know if I can say that. Toy Canino. You you can correct me, Ms. M.
Tio Canino.
Tio Canino. Tio Canino. Welcome to the space. And I know you're new because I have never said your name before. Let's see, we have Kay Ross. Beautiful girl. I'm glad I'm seeing you again. Zesty, Coach, My Melanin, Afternoon Delight. Girl, I see you. KZ, L, Oracle Treehouse, Zola. I have not said Yolanda for quite some time, nor did I say Summer Rose. I haven't said that. I see you all here in the space this morning. Thank you for being here. I trust that today, right, you will be bold enough to accept. You know, if somebody comes along and insults you, not all of us, but some of us will go, oh my God, maybe they're right. And we accept it. And we let it mold and shape us. The difference between lie and truth is only what you accept. So, that thing has no merit. That lie has no merit, but we want to accept it. And then when you're told, you see, your desire comes from a pure, beautiful place. And all you have to do is accept that it is done. And you want to say, but who woe is me? Come now. Accept it mentally. Because that's the only place you can. Why? Because the universe is a mental creation. So what you accept mentally, you receive physically. Because you have to have correspondence. We are below, right? We're physical. So you have to accept the non-physical, the unseen. Where is it unseen? In the physical realm. But it is seen in your mind. And so long as you accept it there, then you will accept it in the physical. So persist in that mental acceptance until your body confirms what you've done. Hmm. Mozinga, you said it. You don't have to accept what's imposed. Because it's already there. It's impressed upon you. I'm pressed. Remember, Neville? It's impressed upon you. Which also means you've accepted it. So yes. So that is your encouragement today. To accept is to change. You will see that change on the outside. Because the expression has to confirm. That's how we live. Why is this always happening to me? Because it's in there. So you have to see the evidence of where your mind is. You have to see the evidence of where your attention is. You have to see the evidence of your love. So, who do you love? What is that? Right? That's what Neville says. No change can be seen on the outside until you first change what's on the inside. And where's the evidence of that? The mirror is the evidence of that. If you have a piece of spinach stuck in your tooth, right? Where are you going to take it out from? The mirror's reflection or your actual tooth? The thing casting the reflection. So if you want the external to change, you've got to change the mental state. And that mental state, the current mental state that you and I have, is the one that we have persisted in holding. We have persistently held on to it. That is how mental states become physical expressions, by us persistently holding it there. So then, how do you get a new state? By accepting the new thing and persistently holding it there until you don't have to hold it anymore, because it just is now. What is that called? Your second nature? Your habit? So then what can you equate a state to be? A mental state then is a habitual thing that you do mentally. And we all know what a habit is. A habit is a thing you do the same way every time. Until what? You can do it with your eyes shut. That's why it's a habit now. That is what a mental state is. Something that state of mind that you habitually hold on to. The same, you will see that, you'll have that opinion the same way every time. See, habit. So how do you change a habit? By first recognizing the old way, because you don't want to do it anymore. So what do you want to do instead? And you start where now? Mentally. Because that's where it happens. You recognize it with your eyes. And you're like, oh my God. Nothing has changed physically yet, but you have to recognize it mentally, what you're doing. And now you say, I want to do something new. What do you want to do? Decide what it is mentally. Decide and accept your new, and then your behaviors will match. Anyway, I should not keep you. I should not keep you. Practice. Practice the acceptance of a new mental state. How will you know that you have accepted it? Neville says your body will have the thrill of joy when you accept it. That's what he says. That's the evidence. As above, so below. That's what he said. So now we go from just hearing and we start doing. What are we doing? Mentally accepting. That's where actually just the work happens, isn't it? We don't force. What's that scripture? You know it. Not by might, not by power, but by my what? Spirit. Which is telling you what? Oh, you can have a strong will. You can push, you can fight, you can shove all you want. But until you change that inner state, nothing is changing on the outside. So what is spirit? All the unseen? Yes. Change the unseen. Dr. Wayne Dyer said, what? When you change the way you look at things, the things that you look at will change. Something along those lines. What does that mean? Mentally change the way you are looking at something, and that thing changes now to match how you have changed to look at it. That is what we do day in and day out. So today, accept. Accept it. Whatever that change is that you want, accept it. It is done. Because remember, the desire springs up, well, then so too does the solution at the same time. Every cause has its effect, and every effect its cause. As above, so below. As within, so without. Even gender is telling you when you project, you have to what? Accept. In order to bear fruit, you project the seed into, and then that seed comes out of as what? Your offspring. In, out. And we say, what goes up must come down, but yet we don't want to accept. Accept is the up. Well, then receive is the down. What goes up must come down. Accept it because you have it. Let me get this bowl. Oh, that reminds me, tonight we are hitting the bowl at 9:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're hitting the bowl. What bowl, you ask? The crystal bowl is what we're hitting. Because the law of vibration tells us everything moves. And when you hear sound, your body responds. And so it helps in many different levels. We don't even see sometimes, but we feel it, don't we? So that's what we're doing tonight. We hit the bowl every Tuesday night, right here. Whatever platform you're on, that you're listening to me on, is where we hit it. So let's get the bowl. Yes, Marjorie, virtue will come out of you. Remember when Jesus was in the marketplace, and the woman with the issue of blood, she was on her knees because she couldn't get close. But she said, if I could but touch the hem of his garment, if I can just touch it, she accepted the fact that if she could just do it, she would be healed. Now, wouldn't you know, she reached out, bam, and she touched it. And what did Jesus say? Somebody touched me. Virtue went out of me. And his disciples are like, you do know we're in a crowded marketplace, right? Everybody is touching you. He was like, no. Somebody touched me in a most focused way. So when you accept what it is, and that virtue, because it is focused, isn't it? That virtue that you confirm in your body, you'll feel it. Yeah, that's what it means. When the virtue goes out of you, you're like, oh. So all you can do is now lay there and go, yep, I'm done. But where does that thing go? That's the law of gender at work. That thing that came out of you was now what? It was projected outward into the womb of creation. The seed has been successfully planted. When you feel that it's gone out of you, you're like, oh yeah, that's good. But that's the evidence. But that's your evidence that you have successfully planted your seed. The bowl. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Jeff, thank you for being here. What a privilege, as always, to see you. Much love to you. Twitter is closed. YouTube, I see all y'all. Mozinga Marjorie, the Better Man, Shay, Butter, Joaquin, Ms. M, all of you. I can't go all that far back in the chat anymore. It's gone. But I see you all. And yes, the Better Man, the replay gang. I love you all. Watch for that notification because I'm going to change it in here right now. So I will see you, YouTube and Facebook. Much love to you all.